Hi, this is the first installment of Franchise Men, and basically what this channel is, we're going to be reviewing things like movies, maybe TV shows, depending on where it takes us. The reason that our first video is going to be about The Amazing SpiderMan 2, we had the privilege of seeing an advanced screening last night, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm Tyler.
I'm Terry.
I'm Uncle Saul.
Saul, what were your initial thoughts about the movie?
Well, I liked it very much. One of the biggest positives, I think, was Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry on screen. They felt like a real couple, a real give and take. The way it was shot and the sound of it, in terms of cinematography, was just amazing. Especially when the first shot you see of Spider-Man, you get this heroic tone, and it just really immerses you into the theater and what's happening.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the sound because I was lucky enough to sit right next to the speaker in the theater, and
Sure.
they did really good. And even then, they did really well with the surround sound. And this is definitely a film you want to see in theaters. One thing I really liked about the film is it had a really good balance of drama and action. Some of my criticisms of previous Spider-Man films is it's been either too much drama, too much action, and this one they keep mixing it up so that you never get bored.
Yeah, going off that, I sort of felt like The Amazing Spider-Man was sort of tied down in what they could do. They had to develop his origin story again. Even though people know it, they still have to. It's new Spider-Man. They need to acknowledge that. But in this movie, something that I thought was a really good strength was how they played three villains. In Spider-Man 3, three villains was not done very well. I hate to make that comparison, but that's the obvious comparison.
Right.
And the villains did not seem like caricatures to me. Sometimes they do. They had depth to them. I enjoyed that. My one complaint about the villains would be that I didn't feel like the time was distributed equally. There was one villain that pops up who I wish I'd gotten a lot more screen time.
Yeah. But I don't know. I personally thought that it was very well done in terms of villain screen time, because then it had a good amount of chance. It had a good chance to both develop some of their characters and then also leave some for later on. I like what Tyler had to say about the villains having depth because none of the villains were very shallow. They had very good motivations, and also not only that they have depth, but it was a very good balance between the villains maintaining being comic book characters. So, they still had their one-liners, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
But then they were also realistic, and I feel like it was a very good balance. I don't think anybody going into it will think it's too cheesy or too realistic.
I think that was the case for me for the first half of the movie. I think around the halfway point, Electro got just a bit too cheesy for me, but still very well done. I love one of the scenes where he's still a person. You'll see it in theaters, but it really does. I think the whole theater pretty much cracked up when he grabs a guy.
Yeah, I like the advertising for this a lot. I did not just see it in trailers. Like the U.S. Postal Service, you could see it on vans. You could see trailers of Spider-Man pretty much anywhere. My one complaint about that would be that I feel all of the comedic moments, all the best comedic moments we got in the trailers for the movie.
I felt the same way about the comedic moments. Because I think even in the beginning of a scene, you could tell that, this joke is about to come up because I saw it in the trailer.
Also, though, there were some things that they put in the trailer that I felt were there for misdirection. Some of the stuff was cut scenes, and some of it never happened, so you never know, is this scene going to happen still? Is it not going to happen? So I felt that was an effective use of the media for the movie.
I definitely agree with that. The misdirection for the trailers definitely keeps you guessing the entire time. I mean, I'm a fan of Spider-Man, and I've been reading the comics ever since I was a kid. And even though I sort of felt like I would have known what the storyline was going at, due to the trailer setup, the marketing scheme, the way they wrote the film itself, it was just nonstop action. It kept you invested, and not once did I feel bored or that I feel like I knew what was going to happen next.
I thought there were strong roles all around, whether it be Jamie Foxx, Emma Stone, Dane DeHaan. Andrew Garfield, I can tell that he really embodies Spider-Man. Like, he said in interviews that as a kid, he would read Spider-Man would be his escape for various things, and you can tell that he really cares about this character.
Okay, why don't we go into overall ratings? Tyler, what was your overall thoughts?
Well, out of cinematography, I would give it a 4 out of 5. It had good acting, great chemistry between Emma Stone and Garfield, like you said, and the plot, twists and turns, which I didn't really expect. I would give it an entertainment value of 5 out of 5 because this is the Spider-Man movie I've been waiting to see. This is how you do three villains right. And there's some suspense in this movie which I would not expect.
Yeah.
What do you think, Terry?
I would definitely give the film a cinematic rating of 5 as well. They did 3D really well. It was very deliberate. And honestly, I feel like not only that, but in the 3D, they try to get the lighting so that it wouldn't affect the 3D too much because usually, the complaint is that 3D is a lot darker than 2D. which is why I feel like you can go see this film in 3D or 2D and you would still get an amazing experience. But in terms of entertainment value, I would have to say 5 because again, like I said, it was nonstop action for me, and I was just invested the whole time, entertained the whole time.
Okay, for me, I'm gonna put the cinematographic rating at a 3 because I felt at some points the romance got a bit repetitive, and then the way they kind of shot the first beginning scenes were just a bit discontinuous with the rest of the movie. It seemed disjointed a bit. And then entertainment, I'm gonna give it a 4 because Electro got just a little bit cheesy for me in the middle. Even though I liked him very much in the beginning, the ending kind of took me apart from him.
Well, it would seem that overall the franchise men agree that the Amazing Spider-Man 2 has a rating of 4, which is something to say that you should definitely go see it in theaters, and it's a film that's a must-watch.
Well, that'll wrap up our first video. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe.